Well, hello and welcome everybody. Welcome, Mel. Thank you for being here again. Yay! We're going to have a spiritual discussion tonight. We have spiritual questions. And anything you want to know tonight, if you want to have a question, if you have a question, put it in the chat. So this is Mel Doerr, you guys, psychic medium. He has a channel. He's the Aloha Psychic from Chicago. You can see he wears his Aloha shirt. A lovely one. I like the green there and the yellow.
And my scar.
Oh my goodness. Okay.
With pride. I told the doctor I earned this scar. She said, you certainly do.
That's right. And so, and I do have some questions too from last week. I'm sorry, it was my fault. I could not make it last week. I was traveling and it just didn't work out. So thank you all for being here tonight. I see Bonnie. Hi, Bonnie. And hi, Lisa. We have Linnea. We have Connie. We have Virginia, Linda, Coach Ellen, Lorena, Maria, Viviani. Hi, Kelly, Tara, and Chitra. Oh my goodness, we were Chitra and Mary and Viviani, and there's another Mary. We were all in the healing hour right before this. I do it every other week, a healing with the angels, and it's a private Zoom room where we do healing, and I think it's a lovely time. So it's nice to do that right before this.
Yay! One of our audience members, Lisa from New York, sent me an email and a text. She wanted a picture of my dog Lucky, so I sent it to her. And today when I got home, there was this painting of Lucky. She made a painting of Lucky and she sent it. And then there was another box with a bunch of toys for Lucky. So Lisa, thank you so much.
Oh my gosh.
Yep. Anyway, that was so cool. I was like, wow. So thank you, Lisa. It was beautiful. And Gary and I appreciate it. Lucky does. As soon as I got she knew those toys were for her. As soon as I got them out of the box, she was like, she never counter surfs, but those paws were on the counter and she was wanting those toys. And then I'm excited for our animal lovers. I just verified that next June the 20th, I'm through Mayflower Cruises and Tours. I have a tour for Africa, Kenya, and Tanzania. So we're going to be glamping for like 3 days. And one of the places they couldn't get, so they got another one. And it's glamping, but it's it's got like a bathroom and hot and cold running water and this and that. But it's a real there's some tent experience that's going to be amazing. I don't mean like Boy Scout or Girl Scout tents. I'm talking nice tents, but it's going to be really cool. And so we'll see the rhinos and we'll see giraffes and hopefully cheetahs and leopards and lions and all kinds of stuff. So I'm really excited.
Nice. Okay.
And we're going to go to Italy in a few weeks.
That's right. I know. I'm excited too on that. Yay. I mean, I've been so busy, Mel, but now I can finally kind of settle down now.
Good.
Okay. And I'm just looking at the questions, and these are all wonderful questions. Some of these are personal questions. Some of these are animal questions. Some of these are angel questions. So some of the things I was hoping to talk about tonight would be just things that would be general for everybody. Now we can go on to the individual things too, but I just want to say, like, if there's anything, like for instance, we had a question about empaths versus being highly sensitive, and I do want to just start with that because that was one of the questions that came in last week. And is that okay with you, Mel? And hello, Kevin. Hi, Kevin. Kevin's loving vibrations. There's a couple of Kevins out there, but that's the one. Okay.
Kevin will be on my show tomorrow night.
Oh, okay, nice. And you guys do politics in your show, right?
We do world events, politics, climate, USA, sometimes personal questions, but typically more like world events, USA, things like that.
Okay, awesome. So let me see here. And one of the things I like about Kevin is he's got such a calm calmness to him, like, oh, well, yeah, your head just fell off. I mean, it's that kind, he could say anything, it'd be so calm.
He's not like cranked like I'm like this. Ah.
Okay, but I am going to look at some of the questions that we had from before, because I thought some of these are really good. I'm going to start with this about, well, here's more. Now, this is interesting. Now, I'm finding more questions than I found earlier today. I don't know, Mel. Okay, well, let me just start with this one. Are empaths the same as highly sensitive people? And I do have a little thought on that. But, and I always think of empaths versus highly sensitive versus clairsentient. And I think of empaths, they're highly sensitive to other people's emotions. Now, so they're definitely highly sensitive in that area. They may also be highly sensitive in other areas, but especially they're known for being in tune to other people's emotions.
Psychically in tune to other people's emotions.
Yes.
There's a difference. Intuitively in tune to other people's emotions. And I think that's the key is that word, intuitively in tune.
Okay. So what would the other one be then if it's not intuitively in tune?
Well, I think somebody that's sensitive, here's the way I see it. I think all empaths are sensitive, but not all sensitives are empaths.
Right.
Because when you're an empath, you can walk in a room and people can be laughing and you can feel sad, because what's going on is could be somebody in that room or numerous people in that room that are going through sadness, but yet they're laughing because they're being social. And the empath tunes into those underlying emotions and those underlying themes. Mm-hmm. And sometimes they're like, why am I feeling this in a room full of people that are smiling? Maybe somebody that there is going through a bad breakup and they're just hiding it well, or an illness of some sort. So that's the intuition. The sensitive, I think, is just like walk in the room and people are laughing and having a good time, and they're going to be sensitive to that. So I think, I think the empath, you have to factor in the intuition. At least that's my opinion.
Yeah, no, I think so too. I agree with you on that, because it's one particular sensitivity, but they're likely to be sensitive in other areas too. They're likely to be perhaps clairvoyant, or they may also be clairaudient, or they may be claircognizant.
Right.
But I think, also I think of that clairsentient as being, in tune with the, the emotional beings of others.
Clairsentient means, or sentience, however you want to pronounce it, just means like clear feeling.
Right.
So sometimes like a premonition, like a feeling that something just isn't right. You don't know. That's cognizant as well. You don't know what ain't right, but you just know that something ain't right, So, all the Claire sisters. But I think the deal with all the Claire sisters is you have to factor in the intuition and the psychic ability as well. I mean, some people have claircognizance and don't even know they have it, or clairsentience. They don't know how they know or what they know. They just know.
That's right.
They know.
That's right. Absolutely. And to me, you can feel, like if a clairsentient, I can feel words.
Correct.
I may not see the words written out, but I'll feel the word. So that's another way to use a clairsentient, which is different than being an empath.
Correct. The intuition will come to you in ways that are unique to you. If you're more feeling, it could be clairsentient or empathic. If you're more visual, it's clairvoyant. A lot of people think that clairvoyance is predicting the future. It is not. It just means a psychic visual experience in your mind's eye. Clairaudience, which is, your inner voice, that inner voice you hear. Clairgustance, which is tasting. I think clairambience, is that clair aroma, smelling.
Alliance. But there's different ones there's several different words for the same.
I know. And then there's clairtactus, which refers to feeling, or, tactile. So, and there's claircognizance, clear knowing, you don't know how you know or what you know. So, but it'll come in ways that are unique to you. And so some people might be more kinesthetic or feeling, so it'll come that way. Some people are visual, it'll come that way. By the way, predicting the future or seeing the future is precognition.
Yes.
And if you hear it, then it's clairaudient. If you see it, it's clairvoyant.
Mm-hmm. You know, what I think is wonderful is that when we are developing our clairs, we almost always have a couple that are strong, one or two that are pretty strong, and then you can develop. We all have the capability to develop them stronger. It just takes a little practice. And then I think the clear knowing, that clear cognizant is very common. Like you say, people don't even know they know it. They don't know, they just know it, but then they doubt it because they're not sure how they know. You know what I mean? But then if they can feel it, get that clear sentient going at the same time, then that's going to give them, put the two together, they're going to get a much better picture, even though it may not be clairvoyant. They're going to get a better idea of what it is.
But it's not always clairvoyant. Sometimes, I look at it like this: the information comes, but it's never the complete and whole picture. It's kind of like, for me, the clairvoyance is like watching an old-fashioned movie and it flickers. But then when you put something else with it, it becomes a little bit more crisp, if you will. But sometimes we never really get the whole picture. Somebody will say, when am I going to meet somebody? And it's hard for us. I see the number 11. Well, what does that mean? It could be 11 days, 11 weeks, 11 months, could be November. And that's the hardest thing for me to get people to understand. But, what I tell my students to do is just give the message. It's that first thing that comes through. And then what happens is we get hung up on analysis paralysis. Is this thinking this? Is this my intuitive ability? And I'm like, just give the message.
Yes, yes. But, back to the empath versus clairsentient. I want to go back to that a little bit on the empath, because for me, because I never considered myself an empath, like that strong of an empath, but now I realize I am. I don't know. I am, but I didn't. But one of the things that I do, and I think a lot of people will do this, and I just have to bring this up because I think it's important. When you're around somebody, let's say, who's sick or maybe in a coma or something like that, I think we can empathically feel what they're feeling, to know if they're in pain, to know what they're even saying and what they're feeling. And I mean, I do this with when I'm with somebody who's dying, that I can tell if they're having pain. I mean, I can just feel it in my body. But I know the family members also have this. Sometimes they also do it.
And I think, there are probably a lot of people who are empathic that are hospice workers and just don't know they're empathic. But you're getting to know how you know they're in pain because they're dying. But
Right.
And then you intuitively know what to do about it. If they're in pain, you administer more pain meds.
That's right. And so what's interesting, what I've seen sometimes is, like, if a family member, even if they're not in the same room, they'll start having the same pain that their loved one is having. But when I say, okay, now we know we need to treat the loved one for, with pain medicine, then the other person's pain goes away too.
Empathetic pain.
Yes. It's so awesome. Isn't that amazing? So how we are so connected from a distance. We don't have to be, just like you and I can do this. We can do readings. We can do healings. There is no time and space.
It's a telepathic connection.
Yes.
I hear feedback from somewhere. Oh,
well, there's an ice cream truck going by my house.
Is that what it is?
I can't believe that is. You can hear that.
I hear it, and I have a hearing problem.
Well, it's very high noises, See.
I used to love the ice cream truck. But anyway, maybe we're going to my chair squeak too. But
no, do you still hear it? Okay, well, it'll go away. Sorry, everybody. Okay, now, is there anything else about empath versus? It is a little tricky though, and I want to just maybe add in.
It's overlapping, and so
it is. There is overlap.
It's not really cut and dry.
Yeah, there you go. That's a good point, Mel. Thank you for saying that. I because none of this is linear. None of it.
No, it isn't. When I teach, I define those things. Like, here's the clairs, here's the this. But I tell people, when you're doing the work, you're not going to think, is this clair, whatever. You're just going to do the work. And so the reason I do the definitions is because it's in the jargon. and a piece people will then know what they mean, but you can't pigeonhole it because there's so much overlapping. It's kind of like it all kind of works together.
Yes, yes, yes. Right. I mean, if I was to take, like I've taken some healing classes or whatever, of course, right. But my teacher, I would call her very round, in the way she teaches. It's very round. It's not linear. None of this is, we just can't put it we can't be in a box. Nothing can be in a box. I mean, it's nice to have different containers, but they do blend.
Exactly.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, now here's a question that you and I have never talked about this, so I have no idea your viewpoint on this.
Okay.
How does a soul become a ghost, if there is if you even believe in ghosts? And then I mean, I have my own opinion about it, but I'd like to hear what you think.
Well,
and they can they be lost? And so what do you think?
Hmm. Oh, this gets into some pretty good stuff. When Gary and I were in Prague, we always do haunted tours, right? And I laugh because I'm not feeling any haunted things, but I like the folklore of it. We just did one in Milwaukee over Labor Day weekend. But when we were in Prague, we went to the Old Town Square. We were in the dungeon, and they were saying people feel this, and I wasn't feeling any spirit presence. I was feeling residual energy.
Yes. Yes.
So sometimes if there's something emotional that's happened, that energy is stored, and we can hook into it. That's what psychometry is, like seeing or feeling through touch. So, I didn't feel any spirits. I felt residual energy, but it was like this tape recorder.
Yes.
So, usually if there's a spirit, or like a poltergeist is not a bad thing. It's just a spirit who hasn't gone to light as earthbound. They will give you some sort of physical manifestation. It could be like lights flickering. It could be like the echo I'm hearing right now. It could be anything. But so, the question was, what's the difference between a soul and a spirit? Well, our soul is our spirit, I think. And I think when we cross over, our spirit goes to the other side. Our soul does.
Mm-hmm.
I think our energy comes back and reincarnates to give life to a new form. So what was the question again?
The question is, how does a soul become a ghost?
Well, I don't really talk about ghosts. I talk more about spirit, because I'm an old spiritualist from way back when.
Mm-hmm.
And we believe that everything is spirit. So
okay. Mm-hmm.
I think the misnomer is like when they think about poltergeist and just souls that haven't crossed over, and for some reason they're stuck on the earth plane, and that's some karma they have to work out. And then I think that's what we refer to as ghosts. At least that's how I see it.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah. So here's how I see it, Mel. It's not that different from you. I feel what people think of as ghosts, or like of hauntings or sounds, rappings, they hear people's footsteps or whatever, those sorts of things. That is an energetic pattern of residual, like you were saying. I feel like it's an energy that has left a stamp in our world, that for some reason, because it's always a repeated pattern. And you don't talk to, they're not like a spirit you talk, it's not like talking to a departed loved one you talk to. They don't communicate back. It's a psychic awareness of that. Or not even, you don't have to be psychic, but you just hear it or whatever. So that's what I think is what we think of as ghosts. Now, also, I do think sometimes, because I've had this experience, that when spirits pass over, when they cross over at the time of death, that they may not always go to the light right away. They may get a little lost.
There might be some karma they have to work out.
Yeah, but it's not a ghost. They're not a ghost. They just haven't gone all the way over yet. They're just taking their time. They're just in a healing mode. They're in the garden, whatever they're doing. That's right.
Well, the other thing I think is I've had people say, oh, I feel this energetic or something in my home, and I've saged it, and I've had the priest bless it, and I've done this and I've done that, and nothing helps.
Uh-huh.
The reason is because that is not that residual energy, and
Uh-huh.
that energy is stored there. So it's
Hmm.
not necessarily an entity; it's just stored energy
Yeah,
that you're
right.
looking into.
Right, right. That's right. Yep. And you know, I've been on Queen Mary, which is in I think it's
Ooh,
Los Angeles. Oh man, there's all kinds
ooh,
of activity there, right?
would love that.
But it's I know I still think it's an energetic pattern, even though we go there and we're seeing all these things or whatever. Um, but I also think that more because people go there just for that. I think they're also by the people going there, they're imprinting it even more. They expect something to happen there because they've been told. You know what I mean? I think they're reinforcing that.
The expectation.
Yes. Yeah.
Gary and I did a ghost tour of Milwaukee, and we went to the Pabst Mansion, which is really kind of cool. And we went to these different haunted hotels, and we stayed in a haunted hotel, which I said to Gary, I said, it had been an old office building, and then they turned it into a hotel. And I said, I'll bet the legend says this place is haunted. And so when I told people we stayed there, they go, "You stayed there?" And I go, "Yeah." And they said, "Well, what did you see?" I said, "What I saw for myself was a good night's sleep." Don't be bothering me when I'm trying to sleep, because that ain't.
Right. Oh my goodness.
But
Yeah.
it's just, I think just the way the hotel was built, and people feel that feels kind of spooky, and that
Mhm.
doesn't necessarily mean that there's any ghost. But I'm not saying I don't believe in spirit presence, because I do. But I love staying in haunted houses, supposedly haunted houses or haunted places. It's right up
Mhm.
my alley.
Okay. Oh, fun.
The dead ones won't hurt you. It's the live ones you got to worry about.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. But I do know people can take a wrong turn. Or maybe not go. So here's an example. I have a couple of examples. I was with a lady as she was dying. She did not want to leave her granddaughters, or she had five granddaughters. And so I didn't know she didn't go, but when I was sitting in meditation about 2 weeks later, she said, Kim, she came to meditation. I need your help. And she said, I haven't gone to the light. And I knew it was because she didn't want to leave her granddaughters. And I said, okay, get your angel wings. Some of you guys may have heard this story, but get your angel wings, and then you can come back and see your grandkids. And so she kind of looked at me like, okay, okay. And then I saw these two angels taking her, literally pushing her along her bottom. Come on, let's hurry before she changes her mind. I could feel, see, and sense all this. And then she went. And then about a week later, she just came and she said, thank you. And it's like, I got my angel wings. So it's not like she was a ghost. She had never been a ghost. It's not that.
No.
She just took her time. Yeah.
And some people can't go to the light because they have to figure out how to uh, make right the wrongs they created when they were on the earth plane.
Mm. Yeah, that could hold some people back too. I think so. Yeah.
And I think some people, if they're just evil, I think when they cross over, they just cease to exist.
Hmm. Yeah, I don't know. We probably differ on that opinion, but we don't know
We don't
for
know.
sure.
And you know what? That's okay. We can have our opinions and still respect our opinions. And it's just that, a difference of opinion.
Yeah, yeah. I don't really know that I have a total opinion on that yet, but
Well, with
yeah.
as many murder cases and missing people as I've worked on,
I
sometimes
see.
if it's a victim of a murder, they don't cross over because they don't want to until it's solved.
Hmm. Hmm.
So
Ah,
there's some choice in it too.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay, I just wanted to just say this. I want to add this up here. This is back on that first question. I get a lot of clairvoyant info during my Reiki sessions. Yes, and I'm almost yes. I would say that's a beautiful way to do Reiki is in the trance. That's how I do my healing too, usually. Okay, and then Maria is saying I can feel yes, transfer their pain to me without being conscious of it. Yes. Oh my gosh. What do you call that type of pain? Well, you're taking it on.
That's an empath. But let me see. That's being an empath. Actually, that's part of it. It can be. It doesn't mean. I mean, some people can feel other people's pain, or happiness, or whatever. But she's talking about physical pain. But that
Uh-huh.
that is a form of being an empath.
Right, right, right. And I do that too. I get that. Oh my gosh, yeah. I get it, Maria. But as soon as I'm away from that situation, then it usually goes away.
The other thing you can do is just close your eyes and visualize whatever light chooses you. I say
Uh-huh.
whatever light chooses you, Visualize it at your feet, pull it through your knees, pull it through all the chakras. When you get it to the heart chakra, visualize that light around your hands, pull it through the elbows, through the
Mhm.
shoulders, have it meet here, pull to the throat, third eye, crown, send it to Great Spirit or God for purification, and bring it back down the exact same way. Crown, third eye, throat, heart. Then when it gets to heart, visualize some of that light going out through your arms, elbows, hands, ground it with the Earth Mother, come back up to the heart, bring it down through all the chakras, through the knees, through the feet, and ground it. I always start with the Earth Mother because you don't want to start here. You want, if you're trying to if you're trying to keep from feeling that empathetic pain or cleanse or not cleanse, but
Clear.
to right. Always start with the Earth Mother because you send it up for their highest good and the purification and for your highest good.
Hmm. Hmm. Okay, that's great. That's a great idea.
It helps keep you grounded as well.
Hmm. Okay, I like to do mine back, up and down, up and down.
I just like the circuit.
Oh, the circuit. Okay, yes.
That
Okay,
works.
let me see here. Now, I just want to say this. Jan says I get claircognizance and clairsentience mixed up. Well,
Claircognizance is we know. We don't know how we know or what we know. We just know.
but it's in the mind. It's in this part of the kind of, yeah. But
Just like, okay, I'll tell you for an example. When I saw this thing on my tonsil, I said to my husband, I know this is cancer. I mean, I had not been to a doctor. I had asked other intuitives, and I just told Gary, I know this is cancer. Don't ask me how I knew, but I knew. That's claircognizance. Clairsentience could be like a premonition, like just a feeling that something isn't quite right. You don't know what it is, but just a feeling like feeling ill at ease about something. That's
yeah,
clairsentient.
but I think it's
Claircognizance is
located
about
different.
knowing.
Yeah, but like the knowing is in the head, the clairsentient is in the
And then
tummy usually.
in the emotion. That's right.
The tummy, the gut instinct, the gut feeling, and then the heart.
Correct.
That's where I usually get the clairsentient because you don't get a clear feeling in your head.
Right.
You have to get the clear feeling in your body,
Right. Correct.
and the clear knowing would be in the head.
Right.
Okay. Okay. So now let me see here. She's asking ways to send out love to collective. How do you do that? Well,
Just send out love. What I do is I visualize a ball of light, whatever light chooses me, and I visualize a person or a thing in that light, and I fill it with love, and I fire it like a cannon.
you fire it like a cannon. Oh, that's a good way to do it. Yeah. What I do is, first of all, I imagine who I'm going to be sending it to. Just kind of connecting, maybe heart to heart, mind to mind, soul to soul, whatever it is. It could be a group or an individual, and then I bring that group up to the light. So I do it a little different prayer. I mean, I've done it that way too, with my heart and send it that way. But I also go up to the light and I connect that individual to the light. To
When
say,
you did that, I saw this light coming out of your hand, and like, or a kind act. And for example, in the mornings when I go to Starbucks and get my mango dragon fruit, I always pay for the car behind me. And
yeah,
I go and pay it forward. So this morning when I went, the guy at the window said, we start a chain reaction all the time. Yesterday it went down 7 cars. I go, good. So sometimes a kind act is sending out love to the collective. Not because you want anything in return. It's just something nice to do.
nice. I know that's lovely.
It can be, it doesn't have to cost you money. You could just smile at somebody, say, hey, nice shoes or nice nail polish. Grocery store the other day, and the checker had this really blingy nail polish. It was really cool. I said, I love that nail polish. She goes, thank you. Most people don't like it. They look. I said, who cares? I said, do you like it? She said, yeah. I said, yay.
Yeah, I mean, happiness begets happiness. I mean, that's
Correct.
it
Correct.
for sure. We can either send out happy or we can send out sad. Either one is transmissible.
Correct. It is.
Okay, so here's a question. Auntie Mel, relieved that you are well enough to do readings.
Thank you.
I'm not certain my question is in the correct vein of the reading. I frequently will have sudden strong feelings about people or a situation. These will come in waves, sometimes strong. By the way, this is from Snoogle. These will come in waves, sometimes strong in weeks, and then not as much for a length of time. There are times I hear my name and feel as if former fur babies are on our bed. Then it will follow days and days and nothing happens. Lately, I have been questioning if these thoughts or feelings are my imagination.
No, they're
When
not imagination.
No, of course not. When 45 came down that escalator, I felt physically ill and freaked out for a very long time. Was that reaction a psychic one or just because I grew up with a sociopath? Both.
Well, a sociopath has something to do with it, but I think because you were, grew up with a sociopath, you knew that energy. And here again, that was clairsentience. You just hooked into that energy, and then it became clear, and you got that sick feeling.
Mhm.
Uh, and it's hard because they overlap so much.
Right, right.
That clearly was not your imagination. No, that was your intuition speaking.
Yes, that's precognizant when it was almost like a trigger, right? That was like
It was all the above. It was clairsentient. It was claircognizant. It was
precognizance.
cognitive. It was all the above.
Hmm. Yeah, and I'm assuming that, yeah, she used all of it. That's great. Okay. And I think having grown up with a sociopath would tune her in to even be more sensitive to that energy. So
Sometimes,
that's why she probably reacted even stronger.
sometimes the psychics, and I use the word psychic, intuitive, mediumship all interchangeably. A lot of people think mediumship's talking to the dearly departed. That's a form of it. But us spiritualists think everything's a form of mediumship. All the psychic gifts, and they are, I think. Because what does a medium do? We take what comes from spirit and we pass it on. That's the same as a channel, because it all comes from spirit. So,
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Oh,
anyway,
yeah. Okay.
I forgot where I was going with that, but
Yeah, yeah. I always feel like a medium has to be psychic, but a psychic doesn't have to be a medium.
see, I disagree with that,
Oh, okay.
because here again we can respectfully disagree. Um, you know, I think mediumship is I mean, to me, psychic ability is mediumship, because who gives us the knowledge? Spirit does. What is
Mm,
the definition of a medium? Somebody who takes what comes from spirit and passes it on.
yeah. But if you're using your own psychic in body, you're clairsentient, that doesn't necessarily come from a spirit.
According to the spiritualist, yes, it does. It comes from
Oh,
spirit. It comes from spirit. It comes from source.
okay. Okay. Well, then, in that view, then of course it would be mediumship. Yeah.
So we all have different philosophies about it, and that's what makes it
Right.
so cool. So
Mm-hmm,
there's not one right or wrong opinion, by the way.
mm-hmm,
It's just
mm-hmm.
different philosophies.
Yeah. Yeah. I've just always thought, there's the clairs, the psychic. And I felt my own like higher self. So I haven't really felt like that was mediumship.
I just look at self.
As being a medium to yourself.
I just look at, like, people say higher self, lower self. My dog just came in. She's nudging me. She must be better. I'm distracted. That's a good distraction. Um, I just look at self, But here again, I've always been the renegade, you know.
Huh.
But to me, all the clairs, the way I was taught, when the spiritualist way, was that all the clairs are all different forms of mediumship. I mean,
Yes.
we see everything as mediumship. All of our intuitive work anyway. And
Mm-hmm.
so, because it all comes from spirit. And that spirit, it doesn't have to be so exoteric. It doesn't have to be out there. Spirit is everywhere. So it's even within us, because we are spirit.
Mm-hmm.
So if it comes from within, that's still coming from spirit.
I see. Sure. Sure. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So now let me see here. We got a question. I love this question, by the way. This is from Barb P. Um, Thank you for taking my question. When my son was in elementary age, he was frightened seeing glowing hands in prayer form visit each and every cross, of which there were many, in his bedroom. Would you please explain why this happened? Thank you.
He saw glowing hands and what?
Glowing hands in prayer over each cross in his
Oh,
room. He apparently had a lot of crosses in his room. That's amazing.
those were spirit guides. And
Yeah.
they were letting him know, our angels. I use the word spirit guide, angel on interchangeably. but they were letting him know that he was protected.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Nice.
so it comes to us in the ways. Oh no, I don't know what I was going to say. Spirit comes to us in the ways we know. Like I've always been scientifically kind of inclined and medically inclined, and so I'm really good at medical intuition. I'm not a doctor, but you know, like if the little guy had crosses, all right, I don't know if they were Catholic, Protestant, doesn't matter, but Spirit came to him with those praying hands over the crucifix to let him know he was protected. So I don't know if he was afraid of something, whatever, but it was a protection.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
They come to us in ways that a lot of times things that we know. That's why I like to know a lot of different things because it helps my psychic ability.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
Like for
Yeah.
you putting into somebody who is, you know, probably near death and they're probably comatose or are
Mm-hmm.
comatose. You know if they're feeling pain, you know, and you're hooked in intuitively because you're a nurse and you've
Mm-hmm.
been trained to do nursing, but it helped you your with your intuition to hook into that particular person.
Uh-huh.
Had you not been a hospice nurse, I'm sure you would have been able to do that, but your skill in nursing also enhanced the intuition, I'm sure.
Perhaps. Yeah, I think they just go together. They have to go together. I can't separate them. Just like it's not linear.
It's not linear.
To me, it's all together. I can't separate. And
That's
I'm fine. Yeah.
and
Yeah.
that's the hardest thing to get people to understand is that it's not linear.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
We think linear because we measure linear.
Yeah. Depends on the person.
It's hard to step out of that.
Yeah. Yeah. I love this next question from Amanda. How about connecting with loved ones who may have reincarnated? I have a feeling my grandmother may be back on Earth, assuming energy is neither created or destroyed. I love this question because I see. Can I answer that?
Go ahead.
Hi, Amanda. Um, so I know this comes up a lot, and people say, "Well, they're come back to Earth, so now you can't talk to them." Well, that's not true. I mean, it's just like, what? Where is that coming from? Because our soul is so big. Our spirit, that's your grandmother, your spirit, your grandmother is always going to be there, just like your grandmother, because it's just a piece of her soul. Her big soul is still going to be there, and it'll have other pieces back into Earth. But your grandmother's always going to be your grandmother. It's like fragment of the soul that we have many. We could have many lives at one time.
See, here's how I see it. Maybe it's a parallel universe. We don't know. But here's how I see it. I see it that our personality, our
Uh-huh.
spirit, our soul stays in spirit. Our mana is our metaphysical energy, our life force comes back to give life to a new life form. So
Uh-huh.
that's why you could feel like that she's back because that's her mana, that's the life energy, which
Uh-huh.
is reincarnated. But the soul, the spirit, the personality stays in spirit.
Yeah, yeah. And then we have so many fragments of that soul.
Correct, correct.
So that fragment's never going to go away.
No, not at all.
Exactly. And like I could have a lifetime in Africa right now. And I wish I was in Africa right now sometimes.
Well,
You
how about
know?
next June?
We can be in many places at once and we just don't know it.
Africa's amazing. I want to
Yeah.
tell you something. I absolutely fell in love with Africa.
Uh-huh.
I never thought I would. There's
Oh
one of
really?
those things where I never had a desire to go to Africa until, well, I always had the desire to go see the mountain gorillas when I heard about
Uh-huh.
Diane Fossey. But when I went to Africa, I was like, oh my God, I felt home. And then it
Uh-huh.
started hitting me that I had past lives there, which I never knew before.
Oh, yeah, yeah. Sure,
Sometimes
of course.
sometimes our intuition flares, not or kicks in, you know, because we're led to a place because there's something there we need to know about.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I just fell in love with Africa. Uganda
Uh,
was amazing. I felt connected.
yeah, yeah. I understand. I've been places like that too, where it felt like home. Like Ecuador felt that way for me. I was just home. Oh my gosh.
Well, wait until you experience Africa.
Okay, I know that. I know that's the case too. Okay, Brenda's saying ethereal certain music tones go through my body like a religious experience. I think that's probably more normal. I guess it's about, yeah, absolutely, it's a vibration.
It will be your clairaudient.
Well, yes, clairaudience, but also the bodies, the vibration of that music connects with the vibration of your body, whether it's a clairaudience is through the whole body. It's not just that, but all the senses, right? It could even be through the skin. You're going to feel that vibration, and it's either going to resonate as harmonious or resonate as disharmonious or dissonant. You know,
That's why I think when we can be feeling down, like, and I listen to classical music or even country and western.
yeah.
Well, I love to clog dance. Appalachian, not Irish clog, but Appalachian clog. I can feel down. I can put on my bluegrass music or my classical music or, my Loretta Lynn or Patsy Cline or whatever. And it makes me feel good. So there is, music does, the tones have a vibration that go through your body and they do raise your vibratory level. I absolutely believe that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I listened to a lot of music when I was going through cancer, trust me.
Oh, that's wonderful to know that. Yeah. Yep. Okay. Definitely. I think that's why the angels sing.
The cherubim and the seraphim. I was taught it's okay to be afraid. It's okay. It's okay to spiral. You just don't stay there.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Now Connie's saying, so she's been trying to connect with her husband who's passed away, but nothing. She doesn't feel like she's receiving anything. But I wanted to say, first of all, we're always connected. You cannot not be connected with your husband.
Right.
Okay. They're probably, what I'm guessing, Connie, is you guys are so close that he's like so close to you, you don't know, you can't see him because he's like there, or maybe he's coming in a way that you just aren't sensitive to yet.
I see it as more like, it's kind of like electricity.
Mm-hmm.
You can't see it. You can't feel it. Let's put your finger in a wall socket, but it's there. Let's say you're in a room in a daytime and you don't have any lights on or anything like that. Electricity, how you define it to somebody who's never experienced it.
Uh-huh.
I think, but what she wants is she wants him to hit her over the head with a ton of bricks, like, I'm here, and it doesn't work that way. It's the subtle things. Like he's going to start showing Connie coins, like little coins. She'll be walking and she'll see coins that she never noticed before. And that'll be him. He showed me the number 7. I don't know what that means. So you're going to start seeing the number 7. Sometimes though, it's just a feeling that they're there. So
Mm-hmm.
part of it is just kind of, you're right, Kim. I feel he's around her all the time. He's never really left.
Mm-hmm.
But we want to feel them hug us. We want to see them like we're looking at each other. We want to see them like when you turn the light on and the electricity lights the light.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes it doesn't work that way.
Yeah. But there will be signs. I am positive, Connie, that this is going to happen to you. I do feel, when you keep talking about the electricity, Mel, I feel electricity is one of the signs, because they can give us signs like that, these external signs, feathers, pennies, dimes, butterflies, electricity, things like that. Absolutely, that can be a sign, and you don't even have to be sensitive, right? You don't have to have any highly sensitive abilities. But then the other sensitivities that you may have, it could be just a warmth, just a slight little warmth.
That's right.
I like to hold my hand and say, can you just hold my hand and
With the
see
feeling on the back of your neck. I'm feeling it
Yeah.
on the back of her neck.
Okay, nice. Very good. Very, very good.
And the pressure on the bed. Or
Yeah.
dreaming that you're with him and you wake up and he's not there and you're disappointed, but yet you can still feel that pressure on the bed.
Yeah, so good. Oh, blessings to you, Connie. Oh, now, okay, Samantha's asking any tips on improving meditation. I am.
Wrong one for that because
You're not a meditator?
well, people used to tell me when I first started doing my psychic work, and I've been doing it for many, many years. I think I was 12 years old. I was 18 when I started reading. I mean, I went to college and all that, but people say, oh, you have to meditate like at least 15 minutes 3 or 4 times a day.
Yeah.
I was never that dogmatic. To me, dogma, I didn't like it then, and I don't like it now.
Okay.
Who says that you have to give up meat on Friday? Give me a break.
Yeah.
Those are people-made rules.
Yeah.
Now, so when they say, oh, you have to meditate to feel this. What I teach in my class is no. Spirit is always with us. The message is the first thing that comes through. And
Mm-hmm.
that's what I try to get people to realize. Now, I'm not saying don't meditate. I'm not saying that at all. I'm just simply saying that to get a message, you don't have to meditate.
Mm-hmm.
And then people will say, oh, when you meditate, you have to make your mind completely blank. No, I teach my students when we do meditation, I want you to tell me that first thing that comes through because that is your intuition.
Mm-hmm.
Other than I'm
Yeah.
not getting anything.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that she wants to meditate, though. You
No, I
know.
get that.
Yeah.
You know what? What I like to do is I'm very visual, but some people aren't.
Mm-hmm.
So, I like to hear some music, and if you fall asleep, you need to sleep. And I visualize crossing a meadow, and then there's a lodge, and I open the door and I go in, and there's my counsel there, and I talk to them, and things like that. So,
That's nice.
yeah,
Yeah. Well, for me, I'll just say for my tips on meditation, and I'm about to have a meditation class because I do love to meditate. And it's not to get messages. It's not at all about getting messages. It's just that it makes me feel good, and it
yeah,
really brings me into my center.
right.
That's why I do it. It does change, and it also does improve my intuition. I know it does. So I use it for that too.
It does because it removes all of the filters that we put up.
Yeah, I mean, I've become more sensitive. I can tell when I've been meditating, I've become more sensitive.
I'm not advocating that somebody should meditate. I'm just saying I don't follow that whole prescribed thing that you have to
No, I
do
agree.
psychic work.
No, no, I see. I know what you're talking about because I know a lot of people who don't meditate and they do psychic work. I do know that. But my personal habit is to meditate.
That's fine. And that's
And yeah, yeah. But as far as tips on it, there's so many different ways. You can use a mantra, you can use a word to come back to the center, back to center, back to center with one word, and you can just decide how long you want to do it. If it's 5, 10, 15, 20 minutes, whatever, you decide yourself. And then there's also, you can use, for me, I do colors. I meditate on a color. I go back to the color, back to the color. Like you do a mind journey. You can do a mind journey. You can do a guided journey. So,
words
yeah,
move energy.
yeah.
That's why like singing or music or chanting
Hmm.
works because like, okay, let's all, I grew up Catholic. Hail Mary, full of grace, the Lord is with thee. Blessed art thou amongst women, blessed fruit of thy womb, Jesus. Holy Mary, Mother of God, pray for us sinners now.
Yes.
And you keep repeating that. And it's
Right.
like getting into that cadence.
That's
And
right.
that can bring about
Yeah.
a different state of consciousness.
That's true.
It will work. Yeah.
Right. Right. It does. You're right. It's like the drum beat of the shaman, right? And for the
Right.
journey, for that.
And that's what we, in shamanism, when we refer to that, that's what we call the heartbeat of the universe, or the
Yes.
heartbeat of the earth mother. It's that cadence. And then we want to move. And then that becomes like really transcendental.
That's another way of meditation, a moving meditation. So, but yeah, that heartbeat changes the brain waves from a beta to an alpha to a theta, and so that's what is, I think. So anyway, Samantha, I'm going to do a meditation class where it's a meditation sampler. We're going to do a one day of a different type of meditation. We're going to go through. We're going to anyway. So I'm going to post that pretty soon. I can't get to all my stuff I want to do, Mel.
Well, I can't, I can't sing. I'm pretty talented. I can dance, but a lot of times in my classes we'll chant Om. But there's nothing inherent in the Om. Om stands for the third eye chakra. Each chakra has a different sound. But if you hold that Om and you hold it, pretty soon you feel everybody vibrating
Yeah.
in sync. And it's really cool. It's like the singing bowls. When I went Om, Lucky looked up like, what is he doing? Om. She's looking at me like, oh, like shut up, Dad, you're out of key.
Yes. And then, they're talking about coma and having, being responsive. Yes. And people in dementia. Yes. Responsive to music. Yes. It is amazing therapy. Music is amazing therapy. I've seen it so many ways with people in music and healing.
When I was a social worker in geriatrics, I used to have music programs up on our third floor because those were the Alzheimer's patients and they were in like the final stages. And some of them, they would just sit and rock. But when you play music on, you'd get that, and they would start to connect a little bit. Hearing is one of the last senses to go.
Right.
And so, you knew that it was, if they were agitated, we would play music and get them to clap and get them to do this and whatever they would do and get them to move. And it helped with the agitation. And we put that in some of the programs for a lot of the programs for Alzheimer's patients. And it really,
yes, I've seen it work amazing.
It doesn't help the disease, of course, but if it helps them from being agitated, then.
Yeah, but I've seen even become quite lucid with some music therapy. Okay. Can you ask you guys to give you a specific sign? Well, the thing is, when I think on that, because I have asset, it doesn't always work.
When I say psychic light bulb, it just means, I was doing YouTube and I would get this flash, and I always get a flash, but it was a flash. And I thought, I want to call it my psychic light bulb. Oh, my psychic light bulb just went on. Linda Grindle will do the side take. She'll go do that side take. So I think, it just kind of happened. Like the whole Auntie Mel thing or the whole Aloha Shirt psychic, it just kind of evolved. But, it's just when we get that, my psychic ability is always with me. But all of a sudden you get that one, like, boom. And it's like, whoa, my psychic light bulb just told me, I mean, it's always there. But typically, when I get the psychic light bulb, it's like, it's usually right on.
Right. I know what you mean. It's a certain power, like a pow. Yes.
Correct.
Yeah. And I want to see people who are interested in developing their intuitive skills. They're going to go through phases of different things. One year they may be very clairsentient. The next year very clairvoyant. I mean, it's going to change, and then they're going to become more claircognizant. I mean, so it's up and down, and it's never going to stay the same, which is nice. And then one day, maybe the light bulb that you say is a light bulb, and somebody else is going to say, "Well, I got a punch in the back," or you know what I mean. Or it could be next year; it's going to be something different.
It's like in ancient Hawaiian when the I don't want to say priest because it wasn't a priest, but I can't think of the name right now. When the kahuna, when you went to somebody who was versed in the religion, and when they did a pule, a chant, then they would ask for a sign from the deities that the pule was heard. It could be a flash of lightning. It could be a thunderclap. It could be the wind blowing. And so that's how they knew that the mana had flown, that the words moved mana, that the mana was carried through the word to spirit, and then spirit heard it, and the spirit would give the affirmation.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So
Send or was it me or what? Oh, there we go. We're back on. I don't know. You were a little fuzzy. It may be me. One time I was lighting candles. It was at Christmas time. I was walking through what's called the grotto it was in Portland, Oregon, and they have all the beautiful, religious scenery, you're walking through. And they had a place where you light a candle and say prayers. And when I lit a candle to say a prayer, it was so real, so outside of, and not in my mind's eye, but objectively, I saw an angel come, a gold angel, as I was saying my prayer, came right here. And as soon as I finished my prayer, it's like listening to me, and then I saw it go off. Just like that. It was amazing.
Right. That was an affirmation.
Yeah, it was an affirmation, but it was so surprising.
Not to change the story here, but I just saw something from Kevin Chandler. I love this.
Yeah.
Talk about laughter. Talk about psychic light bulb. He said, if Kim ever wants to jump into the dirty political readings with us, she's more than welcome to. I understand it's not for everyone, though. I think that was Kevin's way of inviting you to do a collab with us, and I'm all for that.
Okay, we'll try it. And I'll just have to go in as not knowing much, which is maybe better.
Sometimes it's better not to know.
It's almost better.
I do a show. I try not to look at breaking news or anything. And then people ask questions. I'm like, okay. And if I hadn't seen it or don't know it, I'll just say I don't know. And that's it.
Yeah, I probably think I've done it one time. I actually had fun doing it, but I didn't know that much. It was just fun.
No.
Okay, and Roseanne is just saying she gets a thrill at the sound of a loved one's voice. I mean, how wonderful is that? Like the vibration. Actually, you know, our voice is a vibration,
It is.
and it can be, again, it can be healing and harmonious, or it can be not.
You know, the Hawaiians love music, and many of them have wonderful voices. I can't sing, I'm so envious, but you know, I can dance, but I can hum and I can feel the music. And you know, the whole idea of the hula was that when you would hook into spirit, you know, there was this music, and then you'd want to move, and it was almost like trance-like, and so the whole hula evolved kind of from that. And Laka
Uh-huh,
is the Hawaiian goddess of hula. So a lot
uh-huh,
of times before the hula dancers will hula, they will go up to a heiau, that means a temple, with a kumuhalau, with the hula teacher, to give an offering to Laka, to ask Laka to bless them and move through them, so that their hula is the best that it can possibly be.
uh-huh.
It's really cool
Lovely.
stuff.
Nice, nice, nice. Um, okay, now let's see here. We had, okay, see, after a stroke, a person can sing a sentence even when they cannot speak. Wow, see, isn't that amazing?
Because
Yes,
speech is covered in a different area than singing
yes. Oh my goodness.
or
Uh,
reading.
yes, and then we have here, Lauren says, angels always care prayers to source. I know, that really stuck out for me, how I'll never forget that. It was a gold angel, all gold, with wings and everything. Now, I mean, that's just how I see him. But that was so amazing.
Well, I've
Yeah.
got a big secret. Angels are God.
Uh,
They all
well,
are. We're all.
well, we all are. That is right. We are one with the light, dear Mel. We are. We're just different fragments of the light. That's it.
This
You
makes
know?
my shirt is a shirt, but each thread is a part of the shirt,
Yes.
or our own individual thread is a part of God, and it gives it the beautiful material and the beautiful color. So it
Hmm.
can't be a shirt unless it's got its individual threads, the fragment.
Hmm. Yes, thank you, thank you. And I want to just end with that because we're at really pretty much at the end of our hour, and I just want to remind everybody that we are one light, and we are, you know, and what we do here, it spreads out, and what you guys do in the chat here. I mean, we feel that, and it's so wonderful to share this time with you. Thank you for sharing your light with us, and I had a wonderful time.
It reminded me of the song that Carol Burnett used to sing. I'm so glad we had this time together. You know, she'd pull her ear. That was her way of saying hello to her grandma.
Yeah, I know that's a great one. I love it. Thank you for saying that. That's nice.
Anyway.
Okay. Well,
Hey,
I'm glad.
Kim, your email about Italy, please.
Okay. Thank you. Oh my God. Thank you, Mel. Okay. Bye, everybody. Much love to everybody. Thank you.